Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you on Thursday. This is your dab of the day. Good morning, everybody. Well, I want to get to the topic of the day, but first I just want to update. I've made a decision. I'm hiring a health consultant. I'm going to hire a concierge doctor to be my doctor, to help me guide me through these things, because I just can't do it anymore. Getting too complicated. I hope I find the right one. I don't care about the money at this point. I need comfort here and here. I don't have it right now. And that's on top of all the pain everywhere. So I need to get somebody involved, and I'm going to have an appointment next week, and I hope it works out. Let's move on. Topic of the day is something we might have talked about last year or even earlier in the year this year. But it's a little different. Let me talk about it. Christmas is coming. Kwanza is coming. Hanukah is coming. New Year's Eve is coming. These are the 4 biggest holidays for suicides, God forbid, and self-injury and depression throughout the year in the entire world. I guess what it does is it just pokes hard at people who are alone and makes them feel more alone. People who are in horror makes them feel more in horror. People that are anxious or in pain makes them feel worse anxious and pain, and maybe we got to discuss why so we can learn to not feel that way. Well, let's use the term holiday for all those holidays generically. It's getting close to those times now, and guess what we have to start thinking about if we have others? Let's go that route. There are 2 halves. You have people in your life, you have no people in your life. Let's go people in your life. You got to think about gifts. What if you don't have a lot of money? Then you got to really think hard about gifts. What if you can't get around? You got to doubly think hard about gifts. Even bringing a package in from Amazon is hard for us to do. How do you do it? Then you feel guilty that you couldn't do it. Okay, let's stop there for a second. How about anticipation of getting to the place? This wraps in the entire pieces of the pie that I've been talking about. The traveling, the getting ready to travel, the trip itself, the ramifications of the trip, what we have to bring with us for a trip, even if it's a couple hours, has to really be thought through. This is not a simple thing. It's not like going to a Thanksgiving dinner, okay? There's a gift process. There's a celebratory process. It's not just welcome, how are you, let's have dinner. So it's more complicated. And I think that's why the anxiety grips a lot of us during this period. Maybe it's our generalized feeling of crappiness, where we feel nothing we're going to do is going to be good for the holiday. Nothing we're going to do is make people happy. Nothing we're going to do is show us as happy. We're going to look horrible and be unhappy, and people are going to hate us. We're going to smell. Think about it. That's what we feel. That's how we go through it in our crummy way of feeling, and that's how it comes out, okay? So here's what you do. You find an excuse not to go, historically. You find ways to show up very late. You find ways to leave very early. Your uncomfortableness is sometimes not even invisible. Sometimes you sweat. Sometimes you just go like this. Other times you blow up and get loud and are drunk or boisterous, because that's your alternative to being down like this. So we really have to manage ahead of being in these situations. We talked about it for the Thanksgiving holiday, but like I said, this one is a much more complicated process. This one, they're expecting you to be happy. Forget expecting you to show up. And then when we show up and we look normal, but we have such horror in our bodies and we're not, they look at us and maybe think, we're not nice people. And that is so erroneous. That is so counter to what's going on. We're wonderful people. We're great people. We're pain warriors. We're the ones that can survive. We're the ones that you want to hire for your secret mission because we don't look sick. We're the ones that can get the job done because we can take it. And we don't get credit for that. So I think what we need to do to build up a foundation to get us to this place is to think of all the things that we have done right and that we're going to do right and that we're going to bring to that party and we're going to contribute, even if we didn't bring one gift at all. That's right. Because if it's truly people that want us and love us, they'll accept us that way. And we have to figure that out, how to accept that in ourselves, even though we feel dirty and horrible inside. Others don't see us as dirty and horrible, even though we think we are, if that makes any sense. So to counter the extremes of the holiday, and that's really what causes the problems. The extremes mean you're getting extremely happy or you're getting extremely depressed. And I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's the highest suicide period at all. So I want to shout this out right now to all of you who know in advance that you get anxious around the holidays. You call Senior Stoner JR. 908-698-7418. I call everybody back. You text me. Tell me how to reach you. I will come out and reach you. And I will talk you through it. I'm not a solver, but I'm going to try to help you. Okay? I'm not a doctor, but I care. It's a two-way street. You all have done so much for me. I'm here for you. Right now, it's not conference call time right now for me. I don't feel up to it, but I'm certainly here to help anybody who needs help. That's the point of all this. So we decided we're going to do like a divided thing. We're going to talk about the Christmas holiday and how it was going to affect us and all that getting there. But there's another component we have to identify and talk about that's equally as difficult to come through. It's the whole feeling of being with people in a positive situation, because New Year's is coming after that. So let's assume we live alone and we don't have anybody in our life. We're going to sit home and watch the ball drop. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's work that makes you go to a party, whatever it is that makes you go to a party, and you don't like parties and you feel uncomfortable in parties and you don't feel good, try to take a different spin on it. For example, what if you couldn't go to the party? What if you weren't invited? What if you couldn't go because you weren't physically able? And I mean, it's going to be painful. I see a lot of people in wheelchairs also at parties. But what if it's so horrible? Okay? So try to push as much sand into the foundation that you can do it as the stuff that's hitting you hard that's saying you can't do it. Give yourself a chance. Okay? The tools are there. I've put them out there. The tools are there to help us get through these situations. So don't have a hard stop ahead of the situation and say, I'm not doing it. That's just my perspective. Because if you have a hard stop and say you're not doing it, you're shutting yourself off from any possible help. And help is socialization. Help is being with others. Help is being at a happy situation. Look, we cannot minimize what we're going through and the difficulty with which we deal with our everyday lives. But I think it's important that we identify and call out our capabilities as much as our weaknesses. So we are capable of making things happen. We just have to choose which things we want to make happen. I would not suggest you use all your energy and all your spoons to attend a party, then afterwards have days or weeks of being in pain. I make those decisions all the time. But if there are 4 things you can do over a period of time, a short period of time, one of them is the holiday party, and it would make you feel better, maybe find a way to make that your most important thing to do, minimizing the other things. And it becomes a triage situation in holiday times. How many people are invited to more than one party? Many people. So you have to now, instead of saying, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there, if you're in pain and have these situations, you've got to do a triage and decide, where do I need to go? Where do I want to go? And where can I really get to? Remember, want is different than need, is different than I have to get there. Okay? So try to identify and separate those things. Maybe it'll be a little confusing in the beginning, but it will eliminate a lot of your stress, headache, and pain as you get closer to the event. So I spoke about concierge medicine because I spoke so much about how confusing it is in our healthcare system and how literally you have to be your own guy. Well, I don't like Dr. Google, and I don't like being my own guy. I feel like a fish out of water. It's me and Mrs. Stoner talking about health. What do we know? Well, what should we do, hon? What do we know? So you're getting a professional involved. You're going to look to that avenue. That's a smart move, I think, in my situation. But here's the other rub that goes on with things like this. Sugar, stop digging. Here's the rub that goes on with other things like this. Let's get back to holidays. You're going to have pressure, some pressure, to come, if you have family and friends, no matter how bad you are. They're going to tell you, don't worry, you'll feel better if you're here. Don't worry, it'll be great. I hear stories of people with IBS that they're in a restaurant on a date and they poo in their pants because they can't hold it in and the bathroom is full. somebody could be in that situation and just has to politely say to the people inviting them, I can't do it. All right? There are people, myself included, I've missed many, many, many holiday parties, family events because of me. Me, only me. And I tried to send the kids, I tried to send Mrs. Stoner. Most of the time they went. Some of the times they wouldn't. What you want to try to do is not bring the ship down with our problems, if that makes any sense. Don't put your ball and chain and problems on your family. Let them go. Even if it means you staying home alone for a couple hours. If you can't do it and you're in the situation all groaned up and tight, and it's like, this is how I have to go, don't do it. You'll be worse for it. Let me tell you what I mean by that. It's very important that you understand this, how heartfelt this is. I wanted to go to the movies last week with my friend Al, who did the filming for us the other day. And I wanted to see either Midway or 21 Guns or Knives, whatever it was. But there are some theaters in the neighborhood that have wonderful stadium seats. But their times were not right. The times that were right were the theaters that had kind of regular seats. Maybe they leaned back a little bit, not comfortable seats. Mrs. Stoner would not allow me to go to one of those movies unless it was on the most comfortable seat. Now, that's love for you, but it's more than love, and this is how we have to be sensitive to others. She said, you better not go because I'm going to have to take care of you. And it wasn't not love, it was love, but it was the truth. And a lot of times they don't shout it out, they keep it in. So be sensitive to all your friends and family members, your caregivers who help you. I know if you really, really want to go to one of these parties, I know. But try to look past the party. Try to look after New Year's Eve and understand if it's really going to be worth it for you. I understand if you've been home and you're housebound and you've got cabin fever, I live it. But if it's going to put a tremendous burden on your family structure afterwards, and they're begging you not to go, think about not going. I always say err on the side of your family. Try to be there for them. If they want you to go so much because you have to go no matter what, you try to go. If they said you look dad or look husband or spouse or whatever you are, you can't go. I know you really want to go, but look at you. You just can't do it. Then you got to listen. I don't think in that situation it's capitulating. I think it's good judgment. Because I think sometimes, many cases right now, for people like us, we don't know good judgment. Very hard for us to see good judgment right in front of our eyes. Let's load up our dab of the day. I've got something special today. I've got SoCal Dabbers Cannabis Extract. And specifically, this is Ice Cream Cake Indica Caviar. What do you think of that one? Ice Cream Cake Indica Caviar. I've never had this before. I've never even taken a look at it. So we're going to open the box together for the first time and take a dab together. This will be our dab of the day, everybody. But let's open up this bad boy and take a look inside. Very pretty, nice casing, nice logo, nice bottle. And on the bottom it says Ice Cream Cake, SoCal Dabbers, Live Resin Jam. Never heard of that. Well, let's get the jam on. Oh my goodness, does that smell good. Doesn't that look good? Let's jam on. Take a nice piece for a morning dab and lay it in there. We're going to do a cold load on our Carta today. Well, we're on the topic of vaporizers. I'm going to give you a heads up. My stuff's starting to fly in here. The stuff I got on the holiday sales. Let me give you a little peek. Dab Tab Shatterizer. G-Pen Connect. And there's lots more. They're just starting to arrive. Mrs. Stoner's holiday gift for me is all kinds of stuff, and we're going to look at it together. We're going to do a nice dab. Get on that dab train, everybody, and stay on it with the right medicine. SoCal Dabbers. Here we go. Wow. It's like eating like ice cream. That's really tasty. Well, you know, this has been, excuse me, a fairly long talk. But don't you think the holidays, how we're going to handle the holidays, deserve a long talk? One last thing. We spoke about it early on. One last thing. What I want us to be conscious of is what I'm going to be doing. What I'm going to be doing is I am going to be searching out a consultant. I'll keep you informed because I think many of you would benefit from this also. We all have complicated situations, and a lot of us don't like being our own quarterbacks. So I'll keep you guys informed. This is the Real Senior Stoner saying let's get ahead of those holidays, and whether you're staying home or whether you're going, gotta be best for you. Cheers.